Hey everybody, and welcome back. For those of you looking to find a good budget PC case, maybe on a website like Amazon, stay tuned. I'm going to be covering this one that just came in this video. Now before we get started, basically this case, I'm trying to find and build a pretty solid budget PC, so an ideal budget gaming PC for about $350 US. So this case I bought brand new just because most of the cases I found used had some pretty big dents, scratches, etc. So this one I found on Amazon, so I found it for $72.99, and then you get free shipping if you have Prime. And going through the basics of the case itself, I wanted something that already had the fans included, just so I don't have to go buy the different parts since I already have all the other parts basically in transit. So we do have the control right here. The motherboard that I have is a little bit older, so it doesn't have the controls for the RGB on it. So this way I can just hook it up to power supply and then it'll be able to run off of this controller. Now when you scroll through, you'll see all the basics, but essentially with this one, there's not much to it. It's kind of like your pretty standard case. You have your glass window on the side, so we'll scroll through. You can kind of see it in action. So we have two giant fans on the front and then a smaller one in the back. And then you'll see what most cases talk about with airflow, etc., etc. But it's what looks like a pretty standard, I believe it's an ATX case, so you'll be able to fit most motherboards in this, and it will be able to fit most standard graphics cards as well. But we do have all the dimensions, and I'll put a link to this case in the description. But again, we'll see all the dimensions here, and really the only other thing to note is it has pretty standard I/O panels up on the front, magnetic design, dust filters, and then a front mirror pan, which I'm interested to see. And then again, you have that clear window on the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through. I actually just got this in the mail today. Now, I'm going to scroll through just to see, for those of you who actually want to see it, we do have three ways to control the fans. So we do have a remote control, a manual button, and then motherboard control, which you would need the 5-volt 3-pin cable. And it does support a 240 millimeter water radiator, front and top reserve for positioning. Only other thing that I can think of is basically just going over fan sizes, which should be listed if they're not on the box. So we do have a 120 millimeter fan in the back, which is RGB, and then in the front we have the two 200 millimeter fans. So I'll put that computer to the side and we will go ahead and open this up. Now it did come in a slightly larger box from Amazon that had zero packaging foam or anything in it. So basically it was in a box that's probably 2 to 3 inches bigger than this on all sides, but there wasn't anything kind of cushioning it from banging around. But it did come out pretty good. I mean, I don't see any damage to the box. You do get a pretty generic looking box, so you're not going to expect any, fancy marketing material on it. But we will go ahead and get this opened up. And I do want to note, I am purchasing this myself, so I'm not sponsored by them in any way. All right, so packaging on the inside is, I guess we'll just say, decent, kind of on par what we would essentially expect. So we'll do the typical thing, just turn it upside down. I don't hear too much banging around on the inside. So inside of the box is empty. And if you want to see the actual build and setup, I'm waiting on the rest of the parts coming in the mail. So I'm hoping to have this done within the next week or two. So just make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and stay tuned. All right, so 2 giant chunks of styrofoam and then your pretty generic plastic cover. So general first impressions, so this is actually sliding around a little bit, but we have the giant mirror panel on the front. I could try to focus in a little bit, but you can see we have those 2 fans there. So again, it's the 2 200 millimeter fans. They are pretty large, which is kind of what I wanted. I didn't want the typical 3-fan setup on the front. And then we have the piece that everyone loves. So we'll peel that off. So it's good to see that we have a little bit of protection on there. And it is kind of a mirrored panel. So it's a mirrored glass panel. You can see the fan blades on the inside. And then on the top, it's not super secure. As you can tell, it slides around a little bit, but it is magnetic. So it's not something, if you turn it upside down, it doesn't feel like it's going to fall off. It does seem like it has a pretty good fit and finish to it, but You can take that off to clean it, and it'll just kind of keep too much dust from entering the system. So you'll see up at the top, just to avoid fingerprints, we'll show the inputs and outputs and everything there. So again, we'll have the front. You can see it's a very mirrored glass panel. On the side here, we have the exact same setup. So we'll do the satisfying peel. So this side it doesn't look as much like a mirrored finish to the front. So it looks like your pretty standard glass panel. And it looks like it follows suit with some of the other cases. For example, I want to say kind of like NZXT and some of the others. So it looks like you can unscrew this on the back here. And we should just be able to pull this panel forward. So these little screws do come out. We will unscrew the bottom one. And as you can see, we're able to slide the glass panel out. So we will put that off to the side, take a quick look at the inside of the device or of the case. So you can see, you can go to the website for all of the specifics, but you can see all of the mounting and hardware space. It is a pretty roomy case, plenty of room for a decent sized power supply down here at the bottom. So we're going to be using a power supply that I got online. I actually got it for free from a Mercari seller. So again, you'll see the entire layout inside where you can mount everything. We have our, let me double check, 120 millimeter fan right here. So that's that RGB fan, and then the two 200 millimeters up front. So you can see that. So we'll just do a quick tour of the inside so you can see the larger fans, the inside of everything here, smaller fan in the back. Then you can see everything on the back here. And I'm not seeing, let me just double check. So it looks like on the inside, we do have some wiring that's already been run. I'm assuming that's for the fans because we do have some pretty standard connectors. So we'll double check and see what's included. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't provide, I mean, I understand that you're obviously going to have your power supply and everything here, but I'm surprised that this wasn't filled in with anything. But overall, I would say it's a pretty solid case for the general price. I mean, when you factor in how expensive it is to ship cases, the fact that this one's free with Prime and you're looking at around $73 to $75 with tax, it's a pretty solid looking case and it's definitely unique. Now, I would say just looking at this for the first time, my only major complaint would be if you plan on lifting or moving this thing, don't grab from the top because this piece slides very, very quickly and could potentially scratch things. But again, outside of that, I think you'll be able to fit really most pretty much generic computer builds in this. I mean, it has really everything that most computers would need as long as you don't have any massive components. And again, if you're not looking for some super custom setup, most things should fit. So I'm looking forward to getting this gaming PC up and running. So if you have any questions about this case, again, check the link in the description. That'll show you where you can get it on Amazon. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below. Don't forget to check out codelessfix.com for more videos and tutorials, and I'll see you all in the next video.